Yep, so most of you may know me, but so I'll just quickly introduce myself. I'm Emily Belonje, and I'm a student at Leiden University College in The Hague. I'm studying a Bachelor's of Science, specifically related to my major in Earth Energy and Sustainability. Before moving to the Netherlands, I'd lived in Thailand for 18 years, which is where I kind of gained my passion for conservation and specifically for marine life. There I was able to conduct multiple projects such as collaborations between schools for large beach cleanups or coral restoration projects and working closely with some other NGOs. After moving to the Netherlands, I feel like I lost touch a little bit with working hands-on with different projects and especially within the marine sciences network. So I came in contact with Christine and Ronnie, which had motivated me to join the project and kind of expand its network in the Netherlands. I'm really excited to be working with eOceans, as I believe this app can really expand and grow here in the Netherlands, as many people interact with the coastlines, the oceans on a daily basis. Additionally, I'm following a study at the VU in Amsterdam, and there I'm learning about GIS mapping and data collection, which ties in super well to this project and kind of the functions and applicability of the eOceans data collection and how we can really map science in real time and get a better understanding of our world in data.
Hi everyone, I'm Christine. I am the founder of eOceans, and Ronnie is also on the call. You'll hear from her later. We're a small team based in Atlantic Canada. I have been leading marine research projects, mostly using citizen science, but also field research around the world since the early 2000s. And today I'm here because we've been developing an app, and I've designed and we're building an app, so the software that we'll use to deliver this project. But I'm also leading the international goal of the Our Ocean and COVID-19 project, which brings together different projects like Emily's and other researchers around the world. And our mission at eOceans our vision is that we believe that the ocean can be radically more exciting and valuable if we make faster and more collaborative discoveries. So eOceans is the platform to make that happen. And the project that we're working on, it ties in nicely because we see that the app, every observation that you make of the ocean, even if it's 5 minutes apart from the last observation, all those little observations are all individual pieces of the puzzle. And because the ocean is so dynamic and variable, gathering and stitching together all those pieces of the puzzle, we can better understand what's happening at local, regional, national, and global scales. So this is the first project that we're going to lead using this eOceans app tool. Back to you, Emily.
Yep, so like what Christine said, so specifically with this project, it's called Our Ocean in COVID-19. And it's a great opportunity for everyone to participate in international science and data collection in their daily lives. So right now there are many changes happening to the oceans and coastlines, and it's really important for us to understand them and collect as much data as we can, especially in this time, to help us monitor what effects we can see in our environment. This can be both positive and negative, and we can also even monitor the progress after it's gone or we have recovered a little bit. So as the principal investigator in the Netherlands, we want to know what's happening in our small country, and we want everyone to get involved. So a little bit about the Netherlands. It's located next to the North Sea, and it has 450 kilometers of coastline. The Dutch people are quite attached to our oceans and spend many summers relaxing on the beach, sailing, kite surfing, scuba diving, and the list goes on. Additionally, the Netherlands also gets quite a bit of tourists from other European countries that then travel to the beach or come for marine tourism. And currently the Netherlands is doing quite bad in terms of COVID-19, and we have to go under partial lockdown again this week, which is quite unfortunate. And throughout the past couple months, there has been many changes observed regarding the ocean environment. And I think eOceans would be certainly a great opportunity to use the app to kind of monitor these interesting events. And I'll explain a couple in the next following slides. Yeah, so the first one is happening quite close to where I'm living in The Hague. And here we can see that there are multiple large cruise ships and cargo ships that have been anchored off the Dutch coast as COVID-19 has forced them to cancel their operations. And this is a very unique sight to see as you walk along the beach and these like massive ships are there and they're really quite close. So the adverse effects on marine life and health is kind of unknown so far. And right now the only problem is that it's causing disturbance amongst the locals, making them quite upset that it's ruining the appearance of the beaches. But I think it would be a good opportunity with the eOceans app to maybe see how that affects the people, the pollution, or maybe affects the wildlife as well. And the next news, yeah, so here, secondly, we see another interesting trend in the Netherlands, which is where garbage is actually increasing on the beaches due to a lack of people cleaning them up. So the article on the left kind of explains that in places such as Hoek, which is a coastal nature reserve, that the waste travels through these large rivers and then gets blown in by the wind and is collecting up in this nature reserve. And due to Dutch corona regulations that have kind of closed the beach and closed large gatherings, that local communities and staff from these cleanup projects were not able to meet up. So the trash has been staying there for a while. In the second news article on the right, you see a similar story with the annual beach cleanup tour, which has been canceled in the Netherlands because of COVID-19. And this was actually a really large event that happens every year. So the article was calling on locals and beachgoers to continue picking up the waste as they've seen the hazardous effects of it and that marine life can get caught into it. And also it just contributes to the general plastic pollution and negative appearance on the beaches. And this next article is finally on a more like positive note. This article and many articles have touched upon the increasing presence of plants along the beaches that were actually able to grow because they were able to recover from the mass trampling effects from other beach visitors. And this has proven to be quite important for the Netherlands as it provides a better dune recovery and better coastal protection against sea level rise. This would be a good observation to collect with eOceans, and we can see how this kind of develops over time, which species are growing there, their locations, their abundance, and I think this would be really cool to map spatially. Yep, so next slide. So all these articles have kind of shown how there are many local trends that have been occurring within the beach and ocean environments, and especially during COVID-19. So I think because of these changing times, it's quite important for scientists and researchers to track what's happening, especially in real time and from a local human perspective. And this is where everyone can very easily use the eOceans app, not only to provide data for this specific project, but also your own personal interests or your team interests, and you can really customize the app to the way you want to use it yourself. So this is a global map of what's happening in other countries so far. So this is actually an international project and I'm just leading it a bit and expanding its network in the Netherlands. So we want to get this similar picture of all the data, but get this daily. And this can be obtained from your daily walk, your weekend trips to the beach, sailing, and any other activity you're doing. And the possibilities are kind of endless with the data that you collect, and every data observation will be valuable to science. And so here we'll be playing a video. So eOceans has a mobile app application that allows for real-time data collection at sea, offline, and includes efforts and absences, which are all essential. So we'll be playing a short video here. I think, Ronnie, I think you're on mute, possibly.
Could you hear that? Sorry, I wasn't sure.
I couldn't hear that.
The ocean economy is valued at $1.5 trillion per year, providing essential products and services to 1 billion people. Many threats, like plastic pollution, ship collisions, and overfishing, have significant costs. On the other hand, there is ample opportunity to celebrate. Billions have been spent on conservation. Species have come back from the brink of extinction. Fisheries have improved. Tourism has value. Protected areas have grown. Although marine researchers work hard to track these changes, a lack of data means their discoveries often lag years behind ocean change. eOceans can help. Our platform was designed by Dr. Christine Ward-Page, an expert in crowdsourcing ocean data. Our mobile app allows all ocean explorers to become scientists by simply logging what they see. Our analytical tools provide researchers with real-time insights to monitor oceans by species, areas, and issues. Through our community feature, explorers follow how their data are being used to answer complex questions. eOceans is on a mission to help communities and researchers make real-time discoveries to celebrate success, or to mitigate and adapt to change on timescales that keep pace with business, society, and ocean change. Contact eOceans to get a team started in your community today. For the oceans, for us.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Yeah, so as you've heard a little bit now, we have an app for data collection to facilitate this global process, this global project, Our Ocean and COVID-19. So this is really our call to action for all of you who are joining us today. We'd like to ask you to download the app, track your activities and log your observations, share what you are seeing, and then follow along with the project that is happening in your local area and on the global level. We also really want you to think about this app as kind of your personal digital logbook or activity tracker, kind of like Strava or Waze, if you're familiar with either of those, that tracks your effort, your time out on sea, what you're doing, what you're seeing. And then as you're tracking that, you also get to seamlessly share science. So this is what you're going to see when you first open the app. All of these logs and observations are examples of hopefully the extensive logs and observations you will end up collecting. And the first thing you make a decision on is whether you're going to take a single observation log or an auto track or transect observation. Single observations are great if you are just kind of thinking about it while you're sitting on the beach in between building sandcastles, that you really want to take an observation to help share the science. Or if you are doing something that you know is a continual activity where you're moving, such as a boat ride for research or leisure, as well as beach cleanups or just a beach walk when you're going from one end to another, and you like to take observations during that time frame. So you click the auto track, it just kind of sets and records your time, which also records your effort, because it's important to know what you are seeing or what you're not seeing during that allotted time. And as you set the auto track, you'll have the option to create logs as you go. So going from left to right here, you're going to see the next few pages when you open up the app and after you've chosen what type of log you're taking. The first is going to be to take a photo of your scene. You're going to be really giving us context of what's going on around you. Now, there's no need to get up and close to animals or other people, and you don't have to take a picture of everything you're seeing. This is just to set the stage. It's just for context. And as you take that picture, it's going to stamp your location with latitude and longitude, your date, and your time. And this ensures the near real-time aspect of your observation, that you are seeing what you are looking at exactly in the moment you're taking the observation, the log. And then next, you're going to choose your activity. What are you doing when you are taking that photo? Are you walking the beach with your dog? Are you out on the boat? Are you surfing? And your activity helps choose the context, as well as you're going to see different things when you're doing different activities. So after that, you're now going to record the animals you see or don't see. So if you do see some wildlife or species, You can choose from our list of 500,000 species in the dropdown of what you're looking at. There's common names included. And if you do not know the species, there's an option for that too. And after that, you count how many of that species are you seeing, and that plus button adds more species to the list, as well as the skip button, which means if you just didn't see any animals while you're there, that is notable and informative data as well too. And next, and equally as important, is the humans that are using the ocean. Are you seeing other surfers or kayakers? You would note that, and how many of those people you are seeing, as well as pollution generated by humans. So that can include plastic pollution, like disposable masks and gloves, which we're seeing a lot of during COVID-19, as well as noise pollution, and your counts of that, as well as the same function to skip if you do not see any humans. And even if you just had a log of your setting, your horizon, as well as your activity, but nothing else was recorded, still equally valuable. Lastly, you're just going to check over to make sure what you wrote was accurate, and you're going to add notes. And if there are notes to add, this is where you can do that. And this is to tell us on the other end how perhaps your humans and wildlife observations are interacting. So for example, perhaps you logged a whale and you logged some fishing gear or ghost gear, but what was really happening is that you saw an entangled whale, and that is where you would make that note in that box, and you do hashtag entangled whale. And after you've submitted your log, we hope you continue keeping up with the project by following on the community channel. This is where you'll be able to see the regional team of the Netherlands and what they are collecting, as well as other teams that are collecting data together for a research purpose, or just for their own log sake. To view your data on your desktop, you have a dashboard that comes with your account with the mobile app. And on your dashboard is where you can edit your previous observations, your previous logs, and also retroactively add photos. You'll still have to take a photo of with your mobile app, with your phone at the time of the log. But say you were diving or doing something underwater, or you had a really nice camera and you took a great photo of a bird or another species, you can add those retroactively there to bolster your observation. This is also where you can see the global effort of eOceans data collection. On your mobile app, you're going to see your regional effort, but here you can see the global effort and compare it to how it looks in the Netherlands. As well as if you are a scientist or somebody who wants to analyze your own data for whatever purpose, you have an option to download that as well, and that is an upgrade feature we will be offering. So one really important point is that your data belongs to you. So the only people who see the contents of your observations, like your GPS and your GPS location, is yourself and the teams you choose to share it with. So currently the app is only being used to promote the eOceans team, our Ocean and COVID-19. But like I mentioned, soon there will be the feature of regional teams that you will manually join yourself. And then as the app grows, we hope that people will be joining for their own teams to answer whatever questions that they might have. And as an individual, if you believe in that team's mission, you could join them and contribute data to their cause as well. And it's back to you, Emily.
Yep. So here are some frequently asked questions that we can address. So firstly, the app works offline, which makes it super great and easy for any outdoor activities. Secondly, as what Ronnie mentioned before, you have to take an initial photo, and this photo just provides context of your environment, and it doesn't specifically have to relate to your observations. So for example, when you go out surfing and then you can take a picture of the beach after you've finished instead of specifically taking a picture of your observations, such as pollution or any animal species you've seen. Finally, data can be endlessly recorded. So this means that even if you have no observations, it could still be very valuable to record. I know in the Netherlands, sometimes when you go out scuba diving, you don't often see the most spectacular fish, or you might even be lucky to see a fish when you go out, but even your boring observations can be super useful for science and data collection. It can provide as a baseline for data, or it might even be an anomaly that's happening at the time. So yeah. So we're collaborating right now to find ocean partners, and ocean partners are local restaurants, organizations, communities, and schools, or any company that has any interests with ocean-related things, and this can be used to form a greater collaboration with eOceans and kind of spread the word and increase its use, like regionally and daily. We also have a way for you as individuals yourself to get involved. You can do that by downloading the eOceans app and recording your own data, or you can stay up to date with information and learn more about the project and how it's going throughout the world. And through these like social media handles, you can get a better sense of what's happening and the progress of our project internationally. Yeah, so that's all for me and for us today. If you have any questions, you can let us know now. And on the screen, you can also see our emails if you'd like to contact us for further information. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Emily. It's always so interesting for us to hear about the local aspects from our principal investigators working around the world, especially when we're here in Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, it's great to be a part of the project and to see how it's like impacts internationally and through all these different countries.
You did a great job explaining. That was great.
Thank you.
I want to know about social distancing on the beach. How has it been there? Here, for example, in early March, when they closed the malls and a lot of businesses, everyone fled to the beach. And then there were so many people at the beach, and it was March, like it's cold in Atlantic Canada in March, but they had to close the beaches because people were just too close to each other. Has anything like that happened there?
For sure. Over the summer, there was a whole bunch of people that went to the beach, I think more than ever, and you're super close in contact, and that was a little bit of a mess, you can say. So they had to either close down some beaches or have these local corona regulations then to separate groups of people.
And were there heat waves that also would make it more people want to go to the
exactly.
beach because of heat waves, right? So it's
exactly,
like
yeah.
You need to have, you need a break from the heat and to cool down. And
Yep, the beach was a very big hotspot, and we're sure that it would have been a big problem with corona specifically.
And do you have any marine megafauna like seals or anything like that use those outer lying islands or anything like that?
Yep, we have some seals along the northern islands as well in the south, and an occasional porpoise or dolphin you might see.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Hi, this is Peter Burger. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
First of all, thank you. Very clear presentation, very nicely done. Obviously, well, this is just the Netherlands, but if I understand, this is growing worldwide, so you have an awful lot of data. Where is that data going, and who is using that data?
Great question. The data so far is going into the eOceans database. So I've been running projects as a marine researcher since 2011, collecting similar types of data.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that always bothered me was that the data goes in and I only use it for that one purpose. I make a scientific publication, and then if anyone wants to repeat it, they have to go ask the same people and repeat it over and over again. And then if another researcher wants to do the same thing. So the idea is that this is a platform so that you can log your data and it's your data. But then as other researchers, I will use it as a researcher to study manta rays or sharks, the things that I get asked to study. But I hope that other researchers will also subscribe and use it. So turtle researchers, so if you see a turtle or a whale or a porpoise, that many other researchers you can then share your observations with all those researchers seamlessly. And then the community channel allows you to follow along with the results of the research. So instead of me, and as a researcher, I hated that was how I did the research. I took the observations, I published and usually in open access, but a peer-reviewed publication, and there was nothing in between. And so this is where the community channel means that every time your data is used, you get to see how it's contributing into that bigger project. I don't want this black box anymore that exists in citizen science and in research.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And obviously from a timing perspective, this is a great initiative. If I look at the United Nations Decade for Ocean Science, obviously this feeds totally into the objective of ocean observation of the decade. So yeah, it's important also, and I assume you're doing that within that platform. You're creating a buzz and publication that people start to know it, because those are excellent platforms to get people hooked on such a app and start using it.
Yeah, I hope that they will recognize it. I think I just saw a call this morning, like to get an UN Decade endorsement, you have to apply, and I don't know, I'm unsure. So if you know more about that, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. But yeah, I see.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. I didn't hear first part of your answer because my phone started ringing and then it blocked it. So could you just repeat what you're doing with the Ocean Decade, please?
So the Ocean Decade, I mean, obviously I would love for eOceans to be part of the Ocean Decade. I've contributed, I've proposed that eOceans could be part of it. I'm part of their listserv and their mailing.
Yeah.
My understanding is that you have to apply to get an endorsement from them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, and I just saw that this morning or yesterday, an email on that. So I'm unsure about how that next step goes if you want to get endorsement or anything like that. Yeah. But I do see the power of this platform for the UN Decade, for Sustainable Development Goals, for Aichi biodiversity targets, for a lot of marine protected area monitoring, all this, yeah.
Because in the end, that's just my last point. Again, I think these crowdsourced data collection is obviously very, very strong. The point is obviously to get as big a crowd as possible. Yeah. So I will also talk with you, Emily. I might have some ideas how to. It's all about promotion and getting people enthusiastic to use it.
Yes,
for sure. That would be super useful. And then I could share it with Christina and Ronnie as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
probably apply it to other countries as well.
Yeah.
Any ideas? I'm a marine scientist, and so the marketing side I'm getting used to, but.
Yeah. No, and to be honest, so and I think there are ways, because obviously in this day and age there's a lot of attention for the health of the oceans, and it's it's high on everybody's mind. As soon as you start talking about apps, people will start asking questions about privacy and data collection. And I'm sure that somehow you have some clear statements on that. And it's important to have those readily available once you start engaging with other people to promote it as well, so they can see how that works.
And it's a very good point you raised, because a lot of other apps, a lot of other platforms or data collection, it's either a black box where the data come in and they hope scientists will use the data.
Yes.
And I often get asked to use that data, and I'm like, I don't know where it came from. It's just too hard to often use it as a scientist. And the other thing is, or they make it open access. And open access is like, it puts species at risk, it puts special places at risk. And so this is the platform where you decide who gets access to it is the best solution that I could come up with after thinking about this and interviewing people for 20 years about so it's a very important thing because, you know, even as a tourist, you could go somewhere and you could say, yeah, I want to make this open access, but you don't really realize the impact that has on local communities.
Yes.
And so I think it needs to be decided on an individual basis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Any other questions? There's lots of time, but those were great questions. No. You can always email us afterwards. I'm happy to talk about this for hours. So, Ronnie, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you everyone for joining us this evening, this morning, this part of wherever you are in the world. And a special thank you again to Emily for her enthusiasm and her contribution to this project. And without her, we would not be giving this webinar to all of you today. So,
thank you, Ronnie, and thank you, Christina, as well. And thank you, everyone else, for joining today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for a clear presentation. Really appreciate it.
Excellent.
Thank
All right.
you.
Good evening, everybody.